Hi everyone, I am Kristen and this is episode 38 of the Queen City Yarn Dyeing to Knit podcast. This is a podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing and crochet and weaving and spinning and pretty much just my adventures in making things. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am really excited to show you all the things that I've brought with me to share today. I have a couple of finished objects. I have just a few works in progress, and then, I don't know, some fun things to talk about with Queen City Yarn at the end. And yeah, so grab a cup of something. I got coffee as usual, and a project, and join me for a few. I'm going to start off by showing you my first and favorite finished object. This is my SEREIN sweater, I think is what it's called. I don't know the designer. I'll put it on the screen. But this is the cashmere sweater that I knit out of the kit that my husband bought me for Christmas this year. This is Clinton Hill cashmere, and this is the light blue color, and it's just super cozy. This is the DK weight, which I really enjoyed knitting with. This was a sweater that I was so excited to knit, like loved every second of the process of knitting, and didn't want that to end, but I also wanted to get it done so that I could wear it because it is just the most luxurious and comfortable thing in the whole world. And I love it so much. My mom was just visiting. My husband bought this kit for me for Christmas, and also for my mom, who's also a huge knitter. And so she was knitting on hers when she came for a visit. Hers is this beautiful purple, and she's finished with hers too, and she feels the same. We both made the same sweater, and I just love it. It's got this funnel neck, which I'm not going to mess with too much because I messed with like 10 minutes of trying to make this microphone be in a good spot. But I love the coziness of this funnel neck. It comes up at the back of my neck, which is great since my hair is shorter, and it's like a hug. I love it so much. So that is my first finished object. I have a couple of more finished objects to show you. I have a pair of socks that I finished. These are the Freckled Whimsy 24 stripe Advent socks that I was knitting. I had only done 7 days worth of knitting a stripe a day during December, and so after I finished the Cozy Knitter pair, which I showed last time, I got to work on these, and they're done, and I love them. I used just an undyed for the cuffs, heels, and toes on this pair, and I really love how they turned out. I haven't worn them yet, but I'm excited to stick them in my drawer after showing them off. So I used a 2.25 US 1 needle, and I did these top down. I just started off with a tubular cast on and a 1x1 rib, and then yeah, I knit these. I needed to knit more than the 24 stripes because they weren't quite long enough. It would have only brought me to here, and I wanted them to be like actual tall socks. So I knit 8 additional stripes before starting the toe, and then I cut in the heel where I know I need to for me. And yeah, we'll see if I get to wear them first or my daughter Caitlin wears them first. Her feet are not the same size as mine, but she doesn't mind a floppy toe. So she has been she's been borrowing a pair of hand knit socks every single day, and she picks out, you know, whichever one she wants to either match or like match her outfit, or just like completely be different and show off crazy stripes or whatever. And she's loving it. So she's being good about putting them in the delicate spin so they can be, I do wash them in the washer, but I wash them on delicate and then I hang them to dry. So they go in with our delicate load. But these will be the newest addition to the evidently shared sock drawer. So those are done. And I have 2 other things to show off that are finished. Last time I showed you the off-the-cuff baby cardigan that I was working on for a friend. I'm super excited to send this off. I've been holding on to it to show here. Just the other day I put in this cute little tag that says "For You" with a cute little It's like a little kitty cat, I think, and some yarn balls. And I'm so excited with how this turned out. I decided not to do the shawl collar. I just did a regular little ribbed collar. And yeah, I'm really excited with how this turned out. It makes me even more excited about the design that I'm working on. It's not on the needles yet. It's still in like the drafting phase because I want to get it all drafted out and sent over to my tech editor for a first look before I start the sample. But I'm really, really excited to have this one done and to be going off to a special someone very soon. And so yeah, off the cuff baby cardigan. This was knit in Socks That Rock Heavyweight in this green color. I'm not sure what the color name is. Pretty sure I first wound this ball of yarn up when I was expecting my daughter more than 10 years ago, and knit a little sock monkey with it. So now I use the rest of it, or almost the rest of it, and knit this little cardigan. So that is finished. And then I also knit for this sweet little baby a hat for Dan, and I put this little tag on it. So these tags, I'm not sure where they're from, but they were included in the Advent calendar for my friend Alexis this year. So I'm using them and I'm really loving them. You just sew them on. I sewed them on just with yarn, actually the same yarn that I used in the projects. This is I don't know the yarn brand. I've had this in stash for a long time. So I knit a hat for Dan, and gosh, I wish I knew what the yarn was. Maybe it's a, no, I have no idea. I'm not even gonna pretend like I might know because I don't. So I used my hat for Dan pattern. This is the baby size, and this yarn was more of a sport weight rather than a DK, so it's a little lighter, but it's super stretchy, and I think it'll be great for warming a little noggin inside this winter. So yeah, that's finished too. And that's all the finished objects that I have. I really focused on this sweater like completely because I wanted to get it done and start wearing it. It's been chilly here. We've had a few snow days since we last chatted, and I've worn this a couple times already since finishing it, and I just love it so much. When I originally finished it, I thought I had measured the sleeves correctly, but turns out they were like 4 inches too long. And when I had put it on the first time, it was like down to the tip of my middle finger. So I actually, you know, it was already blocked and everything. And so I actually just like took the bind off, ripped out 4 inches of yarn, and then rebound off. And so now I have a little bit of cashmere left that I'm gonna work into a hat or something, or maybe a cowl, something it's gonna get worked into, and I'm gonna do some color work or something to incorporate that into a future project. When I was knitting the sweater, I really didn't think I was gonna have anything left, and I was kind of nervous. I lengthened the body just a little, but I ended up putting it on hold and just leaving it on the cord for my CHADBOURN interchangeable needles, so that I could do the sleeves and then just go back and finish the body with what I had left. Turns out if I hadn't knit the sleeves too long, I would have had plenty I could have just finished, but whatever. All right, so enough about finished objects in this glorious sweater. I'm gonna show you what I'm working on now. I only brought one pair of socks to show you because this is really the only socks. No, I brought 2 pairs of socks because I cast a pair on the other night. So this is the pair that I've been working on the most. This is NOMADIC yarns, and I showed it last time. This is the KITSCHMAS colorway, I believe. So I've got this, and I think I said last time, oh, I cast it on before December, but I was sure I was gonna have time to knit these up in December. Turns out I did not. So I finished the tube of the first one, and they're gonna be shorter socks. So I've put this marker here in where I'm planning on cutting my heel in. And so there's only gonna be this much of a cuff, so they'll be kind of a booty sock, which will be super cute. Or they're a little taller than the booty socks that I usually make, but I think I'm gonna like that cuff length. I'm trying to vary the length of cuffs in my sock drawer because I have a ton of socks. For the longest time, I only knit like mid-calf socks, so the cuff was pretty much as long as the foot, and so I have a ton of socks that are tall like that. And after I designed the sporty shorty sock pattern, I knit a few pairs of those, which I still want to make some more shorty socks. Caitlin's not taking those and wearing them. She's wearing mostly the tall socks, but I wanted some kind of medium length booty socks as well. So that's what these are going to be. So I've got marked where the heel is going to be, and I marked where I started the toe down at the bottom with another one here, and I cast on sock number 2. So that's where I am. I literally just finished knitting the cuff of the sock and have just started in the round. So you'll notice I'm knitting on a 9-inch circular, and that's what I did for the tube of the sock. But I always cast on and do the cuff, and then also work the toe on a 32-inch circular. So I've got my CHADBOURN 2.25 US 1 circular in the bag because I literally just took it off of that to start working on the tube. And so these are the purse socks. Because it's on a 9-inch circular, it's really easy. Like if I'm waiting in line at Starbucks, or have, you know, there's not that many lanes at the grocery store open and I'm waiting to check out, then I can pull it out and just knit a few rounds, and I don't need to like get to the end of the needle for fear of stitches jumping off. I can just put it down whenever. So that's why I really like the 9-inch circulars, especially for purse socks. So I've got that one going. I'll show the other sock that I cast on the other night. It is in the bag with one of my sweater cast-ons. This, let's see if I have the tag. I don't know if I have it. There's a lot of other stuff in this bag. Oh, here it is. Okay, so one of my goals this year is to get a head start on gift knitting, and I know that I want to knit my brother 2 pairs of socks this year, one for his birthday and one for Christmas, because he really likes hand knit socks. So I chose this ball of self-striping, which another goal is to work through some of the self-striping that I have so that I can justify buying more self-striping. So this pair of socks, this cast on, is serving a dual purpose for me and my goals this year. So the yarn that I'm using is the Yarn Jar, and the colorway is Scholarly. I've had this in the stash for a little bit, probably a couple years, and I really like it. It's white and blue and gray and gold, and I think that my brother will like it too. And I have just cast on the cuff, like literally. It's a very little mini whip, but it is on the needles, and so now I can pick it up and work on it. So yeah, these are going to be socks for my brother. They'll be, you know, regular length socks. Yeah, so it's cast on. So that's my other sock whip. I still have not finished my stand socks that I'm just knitting the long tube, but I haven't worked on those since the last time we chatted, so I didn't grab them to show. They still look exactly the same. So I showed you the socks. I have 2 sweaters on the needles. As soon as I finished this sweater, I knew I wanted another sweater on the needles, and I decided that I was going to cast on this sweater that I have been, well, I got the yarn for Christmas last year from Michael and the kids, and I bought it with the intention of making this sweater. So the yarn that I'm using is Ralma Alpaca Lin, which is an alpaca linen base. It's, but knitting with it, it's like knitting with mohair. So, and the sweater that I am knitting, oh sorry, my needles are banging around here. The sweater that I'm knitting is called the NEBELUNG knit. Not sure I'm saying that correct. It's by Knit Safari, and it's knit with just a single strand of this, and it's an oversized, excuse me, an oversized V-neck, just like slouchy throw-on kind of sweater. And I'm pretty far. I mean, it's not hard at all. Okay. So I would say the most challenging part of the sweater is noticing if you drop a stitch. Because it's knit on very big needles, I'm using a 10.75 here, which is a 7mm needle. And this yarn is, I mean, it's like a lace weight. But because of how fluffy it is, it knits up at a heavier weight gauge, or it fills in. I mean, it's still loose and airy and you can see through it. And I've already been like auditioning camisoles, if you will, to wear underneath it. But let's see. I can't read the label to tell you what size needles they actually recommend. I think it's like a 4 and a 5 that they're recommending, but this is knit on a 10.75. So you can see the fabric is very gauzy, but the alpaca really fills it in. I mean, you'll be able to see through it, but it's making like a really nice fabric, and it's very flowy, and it's going to be really drapey, and I think it's going to be cozy as all get out to wear. Fuzzy for sure, but cozy also. So it's all on, you know, a 32-inch circular, so it's kind of hard to see, but it starts off by knitting hems. Like, it's a bottom-up sweater, bottom-up construction. So you start off with 2 hems. It's a split hem, so that was kind of nice to only have to cast on half of the stitches. And I did, even though it's a 1x1 rib at the bottom, I did use a long tail cast on because I did not want to do a tubular cast on with this yarn. I don't think that it would have even shown, you know, would have been visible to do that. So I just did the long tail cast on, and I don't think the pattern actually even calls for a certain cast on. I just decided to do that. But it's stretchy enough, like there's enough yarn in between the stitches that it's not going to be bunched up or anything. And yeah, so the front hem is shorter by a couple inches than the back hem. And then I joined it in the round, and I'm just working on the body. I have a couple inches left, I think, to go before I split for the sleeves and start working the front and back separately. And it's got a really deep V-neck, and it's just, I think it's just knit straight, and then the sleeves are like picked up. Well, they may be knit, and then I haven't read that far in the pattern. They may actually be like knit flat up and seamed, but I'm definitely not going to do that. I will 100% be picking up the stitches at the you know, the opening that I leave and knitting them down. So, and I also plan to not leave them as big. Like, I will do some decreases because I think that I want them to be a little closer fitting, not a ton, but you can see here they're really, really loose, the sleeve, and so I want that to be just a little bit closer there. So I'll be modifying that a little bit, but it's just a drop sleeve, so I'll just pick up at the opening and knit that out. And the good thing about that is that I can try it on as I go and see how I like it. That way, if I don't like the, you know, the decreases in there, I can just rip it back and redo that. So that's one sweater. The other sweater I have on the needles is, what's it called here? It's called Pure Fuzz, and it's by Skandir Knits. And this was actually a free pattern if you sign up for her newsletter. I've been looking at a bunch of her patterns, and I love her color work pullovers, and I really would like to knit one of those this year. But if you sign up for her newsletter, you can get this Pure Fuzz sweater for free. And so I did that, and I'm enjoying it so much. It is a top-down sweater, and it's got a contiguous sleeve construction, and I'm really, really excited about. I think it's going to fit so nicely. And so I'm using, let's see, grab one of my things so I can tell you all the way down in the bag. Sorry. All right, so I am using Woolfolk Luft, which I have had this in my stash, and I had intended it for a couple of different sweaters I was going to make with it, and then it just didn't work out. I was going to make a cardigan with it, and I didn't have enough yardage. and I wanted to add pockets, so that was just not going to work out. And so anyway, it's going to work for this top, which is intended to be a little cropped. So I will knit the sweater, you know, to the sleeve separation, and then probably knit a couple inches under, and then put the body on hold, knit the sleeves, and then I'll go back and use the rest of the yarn for the body. So, oh, it doesn't have a color number. L9 is the color, but it's like a kind of a raisin brown, like, I don't know, like a raisin, like brownish red, purple, very, very descriptive color way. So I am still working on the top of the sweater. It is knit flat for a while, and then you add these stitches in the front to make the neck. So it's going to be a little bit, I mean, a little bit of a little lower than like a crew neck. But I'm really excited about it. You can't see it because it's so dark. I'm trying to hold it so you can see. What I wanted to show though was the sleeve construction, which is so interesting to me. This is a contiguous sleeve construction. So if you can see here, this column of stitches almost acts as like a saddle shoulder to here. And then you start building stitches out, sort of like a raglan, but just on the inside. I'm gonna try and hold it so you can see. So you can see where I'm increasing stitches within that sleeve. So that color is showing pretty true right now. So this yarn is like a tube with merino blown into it. So that's the construction of the yarn, which makes it really easy to join together because you can do this Russian join thing. And if you're going to use this yarn or a yarn that's constructed like this, I would highly recommend that if you're knitting a garment and you don't want ends to weave in. So you can look that up on YouTube, but it's really an easy way to join this yarn, and it's seamless. Like, you can't see it at all. You don't end up with anything to weave in other than like beginning and end. So, and I guess probably under sleeves too, where you pick up yarn. But anyway, I'm really excited about this. I've been working on this the past couple of evenings. And this one's knit on kind of big needles too. This one is on a 10, which is a 6mm needle. And I think that I just want, and casting on 2 sweaters probably defeats the purpose of like knitting on with, you know, big needles and getting something done quickly, but I wanted some quick finishes that I could wear. So that's why I'm knitting these garments that are, you know, larger needles, like, you know, smaller gauge, or I guess bigger gauge. Fewer stitches per inch required. So yeah, I'm loving it, and I'm really excited about this one. So I think that is all. That's all the knitting that I have, really. I've been wanting to cast on a gnome for the Imagined Landscapes gnome knit along this year, but I haven't cast one on yet. And I was worried when, after January 31st rolled around, I was like, oh man, because I thought initially that you were supposed to knit a gnome each month to be able to like join the knit along. Not that I always post things in knit alongs, but the designer, her name is Sarah, I believe, posted on Instagram that you don't have to knit a gnome every month to be a part of the knit along, that you can just enter them if you knit them, and then you're entered. Like, use the hashtag. So if you're knitting gnomes and didn't get one done in January, all is not lost. You can still join the knit along, which I think is really cool. So yeah, that's the knitting. I haven't made an ornament yet this year, but I have knit a gift because I knit the baby set. So that counts as gift knitting. So try and make things count where I can. So I think now I just want to kind of chat with you a little bit about what's going on with Queen City Yarn. Janice is actually, I believe, on a plane right now, headed to Knit Up North, which is a retreat that she's going to today and will be for the next couple of days. And then, yeah, she's got quite a few in-person shows scheduled. There are quite a few local ones in the Carolinas coming up soon. And to get all the details on that, you can go over to queencityyarn.com, and down at the bottom of the page, it tells you all the things that are up and coming. I also wanted to talk about the Queen City Yarn Studio series, which is the subscription yarn club that Queen City Yarn is doing. There's been big changes in the club this year, and the main one is that the club will no longer be a base auditioning kind of club, which is one of the things that was really important when we started the club, because we wanted to develop some new bases to bring onto Queen City Yarn, and we wanted to get those into the hands of some of our loyal customers to see how they like them. And we've accomplished that. We have some new things coming out. You saw a new one last fall with CHADBOURN, which is the exclusive base that we worked with EchoView Fiber Mill, which is very much like Berry Hill, but it has that extra ply of black, so it makes it marled. So that was one that we found, or developed during the studio series last year. We also found a new summer yarn, spring summer yarn that's coming, and that will be dropping pretty soon. So if you're not signed up for the Queen City Yarn newsletter, you absolutely should go over to the website and sign up for that, so you can be one of the first people to know about new things that are coming. Or the way that the club is structured now is that you can choose whether you would like to receive the club colorway on our Notice sock, which is our fingering weight 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend base, or the Biddleville DK, which is 100% superwash merino DK weight yarn. And so you can choose your base, which I think is really great, because I chose the Biddleville DK because I'm also getting the club, which I'm so excited about, but I chose the DK weight base as what I'm getting because I have so much fingering weight yarn. I totally bought into fingering weight or sock yarns doesn't count as stash for a long time, and so I've got a lot of fingering weight yarn in my stash already, but what I don't have is a lot of DK weight, and I use DK weight yarn a ton. I use it for hats and cowls, and I love it for sweaters and things like that too. And so I chose the Biddleville DK weight as the base that I'll receive for the club. And so each month I will get a skein of Biddleville DK in the special Studio Series Club colorway. And another thing that I will receive is information or suggestions on patterns that I could use, as well as contrasting and coordinating colors should I choose a design that uses more than one color of yarn. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about adding to my DK stash. I am excited about using that yarn to work on some gift knits this year, because I think DK weight hats are perfectly giftable, and they work up really quickly, and a lot of my designs I use DK weight yarn, so I'm very excited about that. So another big change with the club is that each month's shipment is not going to be a total surprise as far as what the color looks like. This year, starting in January and with the first quarter of the club, we are showing you a mood board, which is going to give you an idea of what you can expect color-wise in each month's shipment. And so the theme for the entire year is going to be quilts, which I think is super cool. I absolutely love quilts. Janice has made a few that I just am in awe of. It's something that I would love to do sometime down the road, is quilt. But I think that there's just endless inspiration available in handmade quilts. And so there is the mood board for the first quarter is already available, and you can give you a feel of what type of colors you can be expecting in your Studio Series Club shipments. And I'm digging it. Like, I'm all in, loving what's coming. I've seen the colors for the first few months and they are gorgeous. So if you have not subscribed to the Queen City Yarn Studio Series, you can go and do that now, which is another change from last year. from the previous years. So what you can do now is you can sign up anytime. Previously we had sign-ups open for about a week before, about a week during the month that people could sign up, and what we're doing now is it's going to be endlessly open. If you sign up before the 15th of the month, then you can get that month's club. If you sign up after the 15th, then you'll be getting the next month's club. And clubs shipments are going out the end of the month, so you still have time to get the February club shipment. If you want to get in on that, hop on over to queencityyarn.com and get yourself the Studio Series membership. So you can get the memberships, you can get just a single month, you can get a 3-month membership, 6-month membership, and 12-month membership. And the more months you choose, like the longer membership, you can actually receive you know, one of your months for free. So if the longer you sign up, the better your deal is for what you're getting. So that's new for the Studio Series, and I totally meant to talk about that last time, but with all the finished objects and all the works in progress, I just totally slipped my mind. So I wanted to make sure that I let you all know now so that you don't miss out, because it's going to be really good. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I really don't know. Life's been kind of crazy. Kids are enjoying being back at schools, you know, since the holidays and all that. And we've had a couple snow days because it snowed some up here. So we've had some fun playing in the snow. It's actually gloomy and raining right now, which is kind of a bummer. But I guess it's a good thing that it's not all snow, because if it was, it would be a whole lot of it. Like some of my family in Ohio is getting. They're going to be getting quite a bit of snow from this storm that's coming through. So yeah, just kind of staying cozy, spending time knitting and drinking coffee. That's about it. So thanks so much for joining me today. I will be coming to you again, hopefully very soon, with some more finished objects, some more things that I'm working on. And yeah, I look forward to chatting with you again soon. So until next time, happy knitting. Bye.